This is Innocent Girl with Not So Innocent Stories. Story number 1. It all started when I saw the ad on Facebook Marketplace. The headline read, "Rent a room in haunted house. Cheap." Being a student on a tight budget, I couldn't pass up the offer. I quickly sent the landlord an email and soon received a reply with instructions on how to get the house. When I arrived at the address listed in the ad, I could tell that the house had seen better days. The paint was peeling and the front porch was in need of a really big repair. But I shrugged it out, figured that I was getting a great deal on the rent. Once I moved in, I noticed strange things happening around the house. Sometimes I would hear noises coming from the walls. Other times I would catch a glimpse of something moving in the corner of my eye. I told myself that I was imagining things. I tried to ignore it. But things took a turn for the worse when I started to experience strange nightmares. Every night I would dream that I was being haunted by a ghost of a woman who had died in the house. I would wake up in a cold sweat and couldn't shake the feeling that something was watching me. One night, I couldn't take it anymore. I packed my bags and tried to leave the house, but the doors were locked and the windows wouldn't open. I was trapped with no way to escape. As the nights went by, the hauntings grew more intense. Furniture would move on its own, and I could hear the ghostly laughter of children coming from the walls. Why is it always children? I realized that too late that the house was truly haunted, and the landlord had known all along. I was trapped in the house with no way to escape the ghosts that haunt it. I knew that I would never be able to leave, and that I would be trapped there forever. Oh, fuck. Shit. Ouch. Story number 2. I had been looking for a new place to live for weeks, but everything was either too expensive or too far away from my job. So when I saw an ad on Facebook Marketplace for a cheap room for rent in a house that was only a few blocks away from my workplace, I jumped at the opportunity. The landlord, who went by the name Mr. Johnson, seemed nice enough when I met him. He showed me around the house and gave me a tour of the room I would be renting. It was a small but cozy, and the price was definitely right. I signed the lease and moved in the next day. But as soon as I settled in, I started to notice strange things happening. Doors would slam shut on their own, and I could hear strange whispering coming from the walls. I tried to ignore it, but something was off. The occurrences became more and more frequent. One night, I came home late from work and found that all my belongings had been moved around in my room. It was as if someone had gone through my things while I was gone. I mentioned it to Mr. Johnson the next day, but he brushed it off, saying that I must have forgotten where I put things. But that was only the beginning. I began to notice that my landlord would watch me closely, always seeming to be lurking around the house. And one night, I woke up to find him standing at the foot of my bed, staring at me with an eerie smile on his face. I couldn't take it anymore. I packed up things and moved out the next day, never looking back. But to this day, I can still feel his gaze on me, and I'm convinced that he was a ghost or a demon in the human form, and the house was haunted. Story number 3. It all started when I saw the ad on Facebook Marketplace. The seller was selling an antique mirror that was said to have a supernatural power. I was skeptical but curious, so I contacted the seller to ask for more information. Story number 3. It all started when I saw the ad on Facebook Marketplace. The seller was selling an antique mirror that was said to have supernatural powers. I was skeptical but curious, so I contacted the seller to ask for more information. The seller, a strange woman who went by the name of Mary, claimed that the mirror could grant you wishes. She said that she had used it to make all her dreams come true, and now wanted to pass it on to someone else who could benefit from the powers. The price was quite cheap, so I decided to buy it. When I received the mirror, I was excited to try it out. I placed it in my room and stood in front of it, making my wish. To my surprise, it seemed to work. My wish was granted in a matter of days, but I also started to notice strange occurrences happening around me. My pets would act weird, and I would hear strange noises at night. I didn't think much of it. I was grateful for my wish being granted. But as time went on, I started to feel like the mirror was taking more from me than I had bargained for. It felt like the mirror was demanding something in return for my wish. I felt like my energy was being drained, and I was always tired and sick. I attempted to get rid of the mirror, but no matter how many times I tried to give it away, it always ended up back in my room. It was like the mirror had a mind of its own and wouldn't let me get rid of it. I soon discovered that Mary had been using the mirror to make deals with demons, and the mirror had now become a portal to the demonic realm. It was drawing dark energy and spirits into my house. I couldn't take it anymore, and I got rid of it and had to get rid of my house. I now know that you have to be very careful what you buy online and always be mindful of the source. This experience has left me with a deep-seated fear of buying anything from the Facebook Marketplace or any online platform.